Hi everyone, it's Sue. I'm back today to share my first project for Mixed Media Minnesota. I have become a member of their design team. So thank you, Shannon, for giving me this opportunity. So I have just made a few bits and pieces to go with my giveaway journal. Yes, I know it's a saga, isn't it? It's just going on and on. I have to apologise. You'll have to be patient with me, and as I've said previously, I will certainly make, the giveaway worth it. But we've in the middle of packing, and just life in general at the moment is a little bit crazy for me, so I'm just doing what I can. I'm not putting too much pressure on myself, so I do apologise. I will get this finished. As you can see, I have progressed a little ways with it. I'll show you this in another video, but I just wanted to show you a couple of items that I have done using Shannon's digitals. Now, I'll put Shannon's details down below in the description, and I will list the digitals that I have actually used. So these discs, pretty sure come out of the Last Rose of Summer digitals. So what I've done is I've just made, now I'm not going to do one of these today. I'll start it, but I've actually embossed it with clear embossing powder. I don't know whether you can see that. And then this one I've used, here it is here, glossy accents. Sorry, just my brain just clogged up then. So this one I've used several layers of glossy accents. I'm not sure, I think I like this one better, but they're both pretty lovely. So you can see that one's I've done double-sided, so I've just put that on there with a bold pin and a pink pearl on the front of that journal there. And then this one here as well, this is from the Last Rose of Summer, and we'll just make one of those very quickly as well. So the main thing is just these really simple little envelopes, which I've made look a little bit vintage, and I've put a wax seal on the back of those there. So I thought we'll just mainly make these very simple. As I said, it's for these French inspired journals, which I think they will go beautifully. So we might just get to it, hey? I just have got a cup of soup here. It's turned chilly here. We're into jumpers, which is lovely. I'm not complaining. I love this weather, but it's certainly hard to get out of bed of a morning. Okay, so this is, as you can see, the sheet that I've used for these little envelopes, and pretty sure this is Last Rose of Summer as well. As I said, I'll put all the links down below in the description box once I'm done. So I've just sort of made them look a little bit aged, and then I've just put a little bit of gold around them as well. Okay, so we'll just get started. All I did was I just tore the top pieces here, and then I cut the rest out. So all I've done is I've just torn that. I'm just going to tear that little bit there. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. So we're just doing that just so that we can get that torn edge. Okay. You can ink inside if you like. I didn't. I chose not to because you don't really see in there. And oh, sorry, I'll just show you this in here as well. So this is from the Rose printable. So this is just A4 sheets that I've just torn in half and then just inked up. Okay, so I've just popped them inside there as well. Okay. All I did then was just cut along the lines, and I'm going to be sewing these. You don't have to sew if you don't want to. I love sewing on all my bits and pieces, so I will definitely be sewing. Once again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Shannon's given us a nice clean line there to to cut on anyway. If you don't want to ink or put any gold, you've got colour on the edges there as well, if you just cut to the other side of that. Doesn't have to be straight, but it doesn't have to be that crooked either. Okay. Actually, that's what I did do. That's right. On the other side, I just did a really light, I've got a printable of some tea stained paper that I've got, or that I've scanned, and I've just printed that on the back just to give it a little bit of, take that starkness away. That you can see there, that's the white. So it just gives that a little bit of colour. Okay, so we do that, and then the backs, we want to cut them as well. So all I've done then is just lined up front and back, and they pretty much, I've cut them pretty well square. Excuse me. And I'm just going to put a tiny little bit of glue just to hold it in place so that I can then go and just sew them. I just don't want them moving. So I'm putting the bare minimum. If you don't have a sewing machine, you can always just glue. You can just glue the items anyway. I'm just tapping that on the bottom just so that the base, the bottom of the envelopes are even, or relatively even. Yep. And the same with this one, just the tiniest bit of glue just to hold it in place. You can hear that noise in the background. That's my washing machine. We've got a beautiful sunny day, so we need to take advantage of that. It's been raining so much here lately. Okay, so I'm just going to go and sew on 3 sides here. Okay, I'll do that and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've done that really roughly. Now, if you watch my videos, you would know, you would have seen this before. It's sometimes really hard to get a perfectly straight line, and if it drives me too mad, I purposely go over the straight, or what's supposed to be a straight line, with a wiggly line, so it makes it look like it's all meant to be crooked. Okay, so there we have the 2 little envelopes that are torn. I'm just going to run a little bit of ink over that, if I can find my applicator. Once again, I'm in a mess. Got lots of things happening, and I'm working on a few things at the one time, so hence huge mess. Okay, so first of all, I'm just going to put a little bit of ink along the top and just bring it over so that you can see on the white parts of the envelope there. And I am going to go around all the sides. Now, I am adding, as you can see, some gold polish, if you can see that. Hopefully that's showing up. But the reason I'm inking as well is so if I want the gold not to be perfect, so if I miss any bits, there's no white edges going to be showing. There'll be ink. You'll see the ink. Once again, if you don't like that really vintage look, you don't have to ink. It's totally up to you. Okay. So just doing that really, really roughly. I could have probably done that off camera, but it's part of the process, so we'll run with it. Okay, that's good enough. Now also what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scrunch this up, these envelopes up like this. Don't have to be perfectly gentle with them. And then I'm just going to unfold them. Okay, so we just want to make them look like they've been, you know, in a box and or carded around in a pocket, and just pretend these are love letters or something like that. And then I'm just going to add a tiny bit of ink. Randomly, and only really lightly, just over the front, just to add a little bit of colour. And then I'm going to go over some of these creases and pick up some of those creases. Okay. So all I do is I'm just going to pinch the paper and just lightly rub over some of those creases so that you can see they actually stand out there now. There's no rhyme or reason to it. I'm just doing it. Do a couple, maybe down the bottom here. So it just gives a little bit of age, and then just over the back here as well. There we go, that's that. And same on this one. I just got a fright then. Katie's at some activities today, and I just had a fright and just thought I've forgotten to pick her up. I've got plenty of time. That's funny. So as I said, there's just no rhyme or reason. Just do whatever you think. Okay. All right. I'll just pop them to the side a bit. So there you have your two envelopes. But if you want to add a little something else, I'm going to add some of this polish, gilding polish, and it is by, I don't know, Creative Expressions. Now I'm going to, if I can get it open. Now I knew this when I bought it, that this was in the top, and then I only just rediscovered it the other day, which is silly of me. So I'm just going to really roughly, as I said, that's why we inked as well, so that if we don't get, I just don't want too much. If we don't get gold everywhere, like on all the edges, we still see some of that inking. Okay, and I'm just going to go around all four edges, front and back. Okay, so I'll just do that and I'll be back. Okay, so you can see it's really rough. Some here I got a little bit heavy-handed and it's gone over onto the envelope. I like that look, so it doesn't really concern me, but it just gives another little bit of texture to it. Okay, now on the back, I did these. I am not good, definitely not good at using wax and fire and these, trying to do these, to call them wax seals. I am actually really hopeless. So we'll have a go at this together. And I've bought all the, I've got all the goodies and bits and pieces. These, I'm not sure, someone might be able to tell me. I thought they used to have a wick in them, but these don't seem to, so I'm not sure. Do I just melt the end? Can someone help me out with that? So in that case here, I've got a few of these little pellets that a friend gave me. So I'm going to use, what am I going to use? I don't know. We'll use some of these different color ones. It doesn't matter, I don't think. Let's just use something like that. And we're just going to sit it on top of that and we're going to melt that down. Okay. So while I've got one fly flying around here too, all summer we haven't had a fly inside. Now that it's cooled off, we've got one fly. It's annoying. So today I'd use the rose on this one, and then I've done a little bit of gold polish on the top. Today I'm just going to use this heart. We'll wait for that to melt. While we're waiting for that to melt, so I'll just show you these. So what I've done is I've just cut out of that digital, and this is part of it. So I've just put it on to a little bit sturdier cardstock and just punched out to find the right whole circle punch that I used. Yeah, so this is a little bit bigger than the actual image, so just need to tip it so I can see what I'm doing. But because I am embossing around it, it doesn't matter if there's a bit of white showing, because the embossing powder is going to cover that up. Not sure why I was cutting that now. Okay. There was really no need for me to cut that, but that's okay. So cut two of the little discs out of that. I'm just going to keep an eye on this and just see that it's melting okay. And what you need to do is just a bit of glue and adhere both of those together. This is so easy, but just something different that you can do with any of those rounds. These can be done, you can resize these and make smaller discs if you like. So just making sure that I've got that relatively the right way up, and I'm just sandwiching those together and just rolling them around in my fingers so that all the edges are nice and neat. Okay, and I'm just going to pop that aside for a second. I don't like playing with fire around all this paper. It stresses me out. Okay, so that's still melting. Now, as you can see, I found these little wooden chips, and they've already got the hole drilled in them at one of the cheap shops here in town. So all I've done, I think I've got one here open. So all I've done is you can do same thing. You can use those discs that these discs here if you want to. Obviously you're going to lose some of the size of it, or you can actually just use some of these printables. So Shannon's got some gorgeous printables. So you can see on here I have used this bit here. Okay, and then and on the back side here I have used the rosebud out of, oh goodness, that's near the candle. I have used the rosebud that was here. So you don't have to use your pages as a page. have a look at them, and you can utilize them so many different ways. But this is one of the printables. Now, isn't that stunning? So we might use some of that today. So this is now melted, so I'm all over the place, but I'm just going to move that. I'm going to blow out my candle. I think it's pretty well melted. Blow out my candle. The smoke alarms will probably go off now. And as I said, please don't laugh at me. I'm really not good at doing this sort of thing. I'm just going to put it on here and stick the heart in there. Because I used to use wax seals, you know, years and years and years ago, didn't they? So I just thought maybe if I do that with these, they'll make them look a little bit more authentic. So we just got to make sure that that's... So there you go. So using those different colours, you can see the swirl in them. I've got to work out how much I actually need to use, but that's okay. I'm quite happy with that. All right, so I'm going to do this one while the wax is still melted. The first time I did this, I dropped the wax on my thumb and burnt myself. So this one's going to be a bit of a different shape, but that's okay. Just put the pin in my glue. I'm just going to move this a little bit out of the way. Oh, it stresses me out, as I said, with fire near all this paper. It'll just go up in no time. So that's set. That's quite pretty with the marble effect there. Okay, and that's your little envelope. Well, that one's straighter. So there you have it. All right, so that's a little bit warm. So I'm just going to set that aside for a second. And I'll come back to this disc. So this one here, we will emboss that. Now, I've just got to plug my embossing tool in. Hang on a sec. I've got some embossing ink. My embossing tool. Now you need a piece of paper. I'm just using printer paper. So this is just going to collect your excess embossing powder. All right. Now with this, all I did, get myself all sorted out here. So all I did was have everything ready to go, and I just ran this through the ink pad and then dipped it, as you can see. I then dipped it in the embossing powder. Now I'm going to heat this as I go, so I will mute the noise. So the beauty of doing this off camera is that you've got time to allow this to cool, because it's quite the embossing tool really heats this up, makes it quite warm. So you can see there that both sides are done. Now this side's not probably perfect, and then they look like those metal, just running it on the corner there just to bring this raised sponge of the embossing pad. I'm just putting it around the corner, around the edges of the the disc there. Once these are embossed, they look a little bit like those metal tags, metal rim tags. And there you have a metal rimmed tag. Okay, so you can use that as it is. I have, as you can see, I have put an eyelet in mine, and I will be hanging them from those little journals. So that's just something different, a little bit different that you can do. And you can hear them, they actually sound like they're metal, but they're not. It's just the thickness of the two thicknesses of cardstock, and then you've got the embossing around the outside. Just so that you can see them a little bit better. So they're quite fun to make. As I said, if you don't have embossing powder and embossing ink, and you can get your hands on some of this gilding polish, you can just run that around the side, the same as I did on the envelopes. Okay. I'm going to get that fly by the end of the day, I tell you. So this one here with the discs, all I did, now as I said, I'm not going, because this is takes a fair bit of time. Excuse me, I had a hiccup then. This takes a fair bit of time, but what I've done is, all I've done is I've put glue on one side. All right. So quite a decent amount. Obviously, you don't want it to go in the hole. Go to the edges as best you can. The glue will spill out. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, now you need to put it on the wrong side. The first time I did this, I put it on the right side. Now I'm holding this up just because the light's shining through the page and I can see where that is going to sit. And I want it about there. Now this isn't going to be perfect. These won't turn out perfect. Like they're not going to be perfectly straight. But they're going to hang and they're going to move, so you're probably not going to notice it so much. So I'm just applying pressure to that so the glue spreads out. And then I'm just going to tip that over and then just gently rub over that with my finger. Okay, and I'm going to cut away the excess. Now, I know that some of you are probably going to say that's a waste of paper, but it's not. If you want to get a specific look for your journals, you know, just look at these beautiful collage sheets differently, and you can use all bits of them. This I will then reuse on making tags and bits and pieces, so you don't have to use the sheet as one full sheet. Okay, now I'm just going to grab, I've just got this emery board and it's quite used, and then all I've done is I'm just rubbing around the edge now on an angle. As you can see, I'm not going straight up and down, I'm going on an angle. Okay, so you're just going to do that all the way around. So this just gives you, you don't have to try and cut it. This will just shave away, I guess, as you can see, the excess paper. Every time I go out, I think I need to get some more emery boards, and then every time I forget. Okay. Now, if I can find the pin from my glue, all I did then was I worked out where the hole was and just poked the hole so that we have a hole to put, and then that paper that's sticking up, I just pushed it back down into the hole. Okay, so you can see there. Now I've got a little bit of the white here, which is this bit here. That's all right, we can add some gold going around there. But you can see how that gives it a nice clean finish. You don't have to try and worry about cutting out a circle perfectly. So that's one side. I'm going to do exactly the same for the other side. As I said, just go as close to the edge, as close to the edge as you can. And I'm just using art glitter glue. Okay, so on the wrong side, remember, on the wrong side, I'm going to try and use one of these beautiful roses here. So as I said, I've just got it up so that the light shines through the paper. And this is just on your standard copy paper. And then just rub that so that it adheres and spreads the glue out evenly. And then I'm going to cut that out as well. And once again, just do it on an angle. You don't have to do it. It's not like I'm not doing it really heavy. If you had a better emery board than me too, it wouldn't. You'd probably get it in one swipe. But you see how that's just peeling that away? Just sanding it away. So if you've got some fine sandpaper handy too, you could just use that. So there you have your circle. I'll just get rid of that. And same thing again, just find the hole. So you've got a hole, nice clean hole there for your jump rings. Okay. Now, as I said, this one I have used glossy accents, and this one I have used embossing powder. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to show you one coat of embossing powder. All right. And I'm just using this clear, this is the Ranger clear embossing powder. Now this is where you'll definitely need a backing sheet to get any excess. All right. And you're just going to push it down into your embossing pad until it's all nicely covered, and then tip it up that way, and then just sprinkle your embossing powder on top. You can do lots like that because you're going to tip the rest back into your container. Now where's my, here they are, my tweezers. So I'm just going to pick them up on the side and tap off any excess. Okay, just put that to the side, and I'm just going to get rid of this excess because I know that I'll knock it everywhere and spill it. Then it's wasted. So as easy as that. Now I'm going to put this on here, and I'm not going to, don't ever blow your heat tool onto these mats because it'll buckle them and you can never get them back flush again. So I'm just going to hold this up so that you can see it change. So you can see the embossing powder on there now. So you can see it's got that nice shiny embossed finish there. Now when that cools, I would then dip it in to your embossing pad at least once more. I did mine 3 times. That's glossy accents. So this one I did 3 times. Okay. And you can see it's not perfect. It had some bumps in there, and so I've run over that with some of that polish, gold polish, and it's just taken to those little dimples. And then around the edge, I have applied the polish as well. So that is still really quite warm. I'm going to do this other side while I've got you here, and then I'm just going to run some gold around the edge. Okay. And as I said, I would do at least once more, probably twice, into the embossing powder and then into the embossing pad, sorry, and then sprinkle it with the embossing powder. It's totally up to you. If you're happy with just the one, and yes, okay, don't do that. Because I didn't do that before. I just did that for the video. Don't put it on your paper because it's underneath. It's going to melt the other side because the heat will go straight through. So maybe use tweezers. So I've just melted that again because I had a little bit of powder still sitting on here and it's picked it up. Just make sure it's not too hot. But just to give you a bit of an idea there. So I'll pop that to the side and get some of my polish. That's really still quite warm. I'm just going to go around, all around the edges there. So just be careful because that is really still quite hot. I just wanted to show you though how I did it. Now, as you can see, I've got some clear embossing powder that has gone over the side. I'm not worried about that. If you are, just use your emery board and just sand that back again so you've got a flat edge. And there you have a little, so beautiful little way to make some discs out of those rounds. So there we have one where we've embossed around the edge, and that's just the cardstock, 2 pieces glued together. And then we've got the polish and embossed with clear embossing powder. So I love those. I think they're really cute. I'm going to try and make a few of those. Now we come back to these. These are cooled down and nice and firm. So all I'm going to do is very easy. I'm going to make some nice writing paper. So this will be beautiful in the journals. You can put some hidden journaling and you've got a nice decorative piece there. I'm just going to use, where are we? So this is out of the Rose Digital as well. It's got beautiful music paper, like lightly in the background, and it's got some beautiful roses just around the edges. Okay, so I'm just going to tear that. I'm a mess everywhere, haven't I? I'm just tearing the edges. I'm going to tear both long sides. Find approximately the center, it doesn't matter, and I've done that light tea stain on the back there again. I'm just going to tear that in half and then do this other side here as well. And once again, all I've done is I've just scrunched these up like so and undone them, flattened them out a little bit. And then just lightly go over your page Let's bring a little bit of colour in, and then on this you're grabbing some of those fold lines as well. I'm just doing it really, really lightly. Okay. I'm not going to worry about this side so much. I'll do a little bit just to bring up some of those lines. Okay, and then I'm going to ink around the edges. That's really, really roughly. I'm going to tear a couple of them, tear and fold them back. Just adds a little bit more age to them. As you can see, I'm not being very particular about it. And I'm just going to fold. Should be able to just fold it twice and it should fit in those envelopes. So that's half of an A4 size. And then I'm just going to go around and just highlight some of those fold lines. And then do the same on the inside. So you can just fold it, refold it again. Some of this mess here so that you can see. I'll do this one off camera because you saw what I did. Just scrunched it and then lightly inked it. I tore a couple of the edges so it looks like it's been pulled out of the envelope and read a few times. I'm just going to do a little bit of ink there. Okay. This one's got much more colour to it, but they're both beautiful just the same. So this one goes in here. Pop this one in here. And then I'll do, as I said, I'll do this one off camera, but I'll just pop it in there for now. I have no idea why that is finding it hard to get in there. I've obviously, I think, sewn too far in on the envelope maybe. No, it's just me. Anyway, I'm struggling with that, so I'm going to leave that out. Leave that out and fix it up later. Okay, so we've done the two beautiful aged envelopes with the wax seals on the back. So they make beautiful addition to some vintage journals. And then we've done the little discs that sound a little bit metally, a bit tinny. So here's one that I did prior, and it's got an eyelet in there and a jump ring, so you can add beads or attach it to your pages. So we've done those as well. And then these beautiful little wooden discs that I've done. So this one I've used glossy accents, and I've just used some of Shannon's printables, a page printable. So remember, this was the page that I took that from. Okay. And then this is the one that we did. So I will go and I'll add a few more layers, a couple more layers onto this to finish this one off. So you can see the difference, I think, as I said, 3 layers I did on that. You can see that this is only 1 and this one's got 3. There's a huge difference. And then I've just gone around with that beautiful gold polish. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you all enjoyed that and you got something out of that. I will put all Shannon's details down below. So please pop over and have a look. She's got some beautiful digitals, and I will be back again soon with another video. So until then, take care. Bye-bye.